All right, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. Let's take a look and see what Bitcoin did today. So, it looks like Bitcoin actually went and touched that 61,124 area, taking it out, going a little bit higher to 61,324, which was our high of the day. So, high is 61,330, even went higher than that. Low was 57,770, had a pretty big range. That's pretty impressive there. So, um, wow, that could potentially be the bottom of the week. Especially because we did close a daily candle above midnight weekly open, which is at 59,846. Okay, so that being said, at this point, unless we lose 59,846 or 59,702, and of course our actual weekly open at 5 p.m. Sunday, which was at 59,553. So in this area right here, okay, let me get rid of this fib tool. Within these three different lines, as long as we stay within these lines, we should be looking for longs, okay, based off of the weekly. Um, I would not be shorting the market unless we lose these three lines. Okay. So as it stands right now, our bottom for the week is 57,770. Okay. That can change, of course, but do not buy into, not financial advice here, but from a timing perspective, especially because we're going on to Thursday, do not buy into shorting this market on Bitcoin, I would say, because there's a good chance that this was our bottom for the week. Okay. Yes, there is a potential that we could have some downward momentum, but I do not expect us to lose these levels just yet. This could happen potentially over the weekend, but I think for the remainder of the actual week, I'm expecting long. So I'm expecting taking out 61,124 again, potentially even up to 62. I would not be shorting this market, okay? So tomorrow I will be looking for a long if it provides the opportunity. Even if we have this wick up here, it doesn't matter to me as long as we're staying above weekly open, okay? And we're consolidating. So looking at the 4 hour, we had a big wick to the upside, so it's caught some sensitivity, got a little bit of a drip down, but again, look at this. We're not losing 59,846. Looking at some of these other time frames, you've reclaimed some of these other MAs. I believe that my purple was what? I think it's like the 80, I want to say. What is this? 80, yeah, and the blues 100. So we even, for a while had to reclaim the 100 as well. Couldn't hold above it, so we're back, towards the 80. Um, I would expect, we're potentially we could be getting a golden cross on the 1 hour. So I would expect the 21 to start curving up. We may not see an actual decent move until, at least a couple of hours, probably into the night. It could be when non-farm employment change, I think it is tomorrow. So we do have one more bigger Fed event tomorrow. But just be careful, guys, because like I said, I mean, yes, obviously every pump that we've had, we want to short immediately, but this is a little bit different because this is actually still above weekly open. Like we're staying still above weekly open and using it as support. And the one that I truly like to look for, which is midnight Monday weekly open. So I am not bearish at this point. I think that there's going to be some consolidation, but I am not bearish for right now, especially because we still have liquidity up above us too. So I'm going to be looking for this yellow line to move up and cross this 200 MA. Okay, that's what I'm going to be looking for. A slow move up, crossing that 200, and then we'll be able to really get our move up. Okay, so that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at our liquidity. So in our liquidity tool here, let's take a look. All right, let's reload this. All right, perfect. So taking a look at liquidity, let's go into our 4 hour, see what we've done. Perfect. All right, so we haven't really gotten into this yellow liquidity yet, which is why I'm saying like be very careful with your shorts because there's a good chance that we could still take that out this week. Um, Even from the 25x perspective, Even from the just the 1 million group pool here, you can see that there's still that green there. So if I increase it to 5 million and really aggregate it, it turns to yellow, which shows that that's a higher probability that we take this out before we take this blue out. And we'll take a look at the simple map as well. I'm curious to see what that shows. But let's go ahead and go into the hourly. So our hourly, taking a look here, is, yeah, it looks like it's going to be bouncing off of that 21 and then coming up here and maybe testing 62, 140. Now, the only thing that does concern me, guys, is that we are technically, pumping at the beginning of July. Like, this is the first day. So, don't really want to see that, especially on the first week. I would have liked to see us dump to a point where we needed to go. There is not enough liquidity, but what that does tell me is there is a decent chance. Yes, I did not tell you to short possibly this week, but there's a decent chance within the upcoming weeks that we could get a violent move down, especially if you look at Kiyotaka here. This kind of alludes to that, right? So you can see all these orders down here. So this could be a fake out for the first week of July. You can still definitely trade it, be bullish for right now on the meso and the micro timeframes, but on a macro, still be very, very cautious because I'm still, like I said earlier this morning, I'm bearish on the macro. Um, 15 minutes. So 15 minutes shows that, as long as we keep this 200 MA right here, we have to maintain a bullish bias, especially as long as we're above those weekly opens as well. That's going to be extremely important, more so than, I would say than what these wicks are really showing us. This could definitely be a fake out to try to invoke a lot of shorts to wreck them up here. So I, again, on the micro and the meso time frames, which is basically going to be the remainder of the week, your 4 hour and less, I am more so on the bullish side until we lose those weekly opens. Okay. So for right now, I would be targeting and looking for a setup to 62 140 until further notice. That being said, could we get a nice draw on liquidity? We sure can. So, this, if we go down here, and I kind of drill down into this 100x only, not doing the aggregation. Let's do a fib pull. Let's have some fun, do a fib pull and see where that could be at. So I would probably say pull from here first, and if not, if there's no liquidity there, we'll probably pull from the next one. But let's take a look and see what this shows. So yeah, so this shows, look at this. I mean, almost liquidity right up to 59 160. And that would basically be a bounce off of your 200 MA. So you could front run this and basically have an order right here, which I may do tonight. I may actually front run this, put an order at 59.3 and see what happens. Um, there's also the potential that we don't get that low and then we pull from something like right here. We would technically have to bounce from right now. So this would be about 59,689 it looks like. So that's another possibility. But from a timing perspective for Asia session, I'd probably not want the bounce tonight. I would want it tomorrow. So I feel more comfortable with pulling from down here and basically riding that 59.3 area, which I'll probably put an order in tonight for. So let's finally drop into the 5 minute here. And our 5 minute is going to be showing, let's see. Let's increase the aggregation. So yeah, we took out this first red liquidity, which is great. Obviously offered some sensitivity, and so now it's looking like, we're falling a little bit. As long as, like I said, though, the 15-minute holds, we can't really thoroughly be bearish yet. I would be waiting for that to fall apart, and then we could possibly, think in a more bearish term. But for right now, this could be potentially invoking more shorts. So just keep that in mind. Yes, there is a chance that, we could just fall from here, and this would be a great entry. But from a timing perspective for the week, because we made such a big low down here, just be extremely careful with that. That's all I'm going to say. If this were to happen, at the beginning of the week, like Monday or Tuesday, then I would say this may be the top of the week, especially if we didn't drop down here yet. But because we dropped down here first, and then we're coming up now, just be very, very cautious with the shorts that you guys are doing. Okay, and also the entries, of course, with your longs, because this market has been very choppy. Taking a look at Kiyotaka, which is our order book here, you can see there's not really a lot of liquidity to, or orders, I should say, to drive us down to this area just yet. There will be as more longs, more orders come in down here, more longs come in over here. These orders mostly coincide with this liquidity, this heat map right here. So the more longs that happen, the more people go long, the more chance that there's going to be some more orders down here. Um, but for right now, I would basically be targeting that 59 to 300 area that I was telling you about, and that aligns with some of these orders right here. So that's what I'm seeing for right now, from a micro kind of time frame perspective. I would like for tonight to see us just kind of hover around this area, not do too much. If we do get a drop down, hopefully we hold the 15-minute 200. If not, it could definitely be a little bit more bearish. And the next target I would be targeting would be this fib pull from this little impulse right here up, which would be around 58,887. So 58,887 would be kind of my worst case scenario before we actually lost everything and all hope for the bulls for the week. Okay, guys, so that's what I have. Your trend diff indicator showing that, we did have some bullish spikes here, so that was great. Your daily is showing a -1, so again, lines up with my theory, right? You got that slightly bearish bias. 4 hours showing neutral, so again, I am leaning more on a meso time frame, 4 hour and under. I am leaning more bullish than bearish right now, just from a timing perspective. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then the final thing that we're going to look at is going to be our simple map. So let's go ahead and pull that up right now. All right, so taking a look at our simple map here, I mean, you can see how little liquidity there is. There is this weird spike at 58,840, which, aligns with that 58,887 I was talking about. So we could technically come down here, hit that spike, and then come back up. This is on your 5, your 15, and your hourly. So just kind of be cautious of that. If you do front run this and go to the 59.3 area, just be aware that we could possibly visit this. I will have for myself, even though it's more of a scalp to 62, I'm probably going to have my stop fairly deep just in case. That way I cover this area as well, since there is a spike of volume right here, or a spike of liquidity. So just watch out for that for the night. And then the other thing is on the swing time frames, which is going to be your 4 hour and your daily. You can see that the long liquidity right below us, there's not really a bridge yet to get to this upper or this other range, right, of all these millions of dollars. But we are right next to some of these other millions of dollars, right, to like 63,000 even. So we could hopefully take out some of this even to 62.1. That's what I would be targeting, on the 4 hour. We're kind of at a very low liquidity node right now. So I'm hoping that we can just kind of start moving up this way eventually. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we at least take out 58,887, which would be that other 76 I was showing you guys. And that's also that little volume spike right here, that little liquidity spike. So that is definitely a target for me now because I saw that. I may even kind of put my order more so at 59,000 rather than 59.3 to just kind of be closer to that area, but still front running it. So I think I will do that instead. But anyways, guys, that is what I have for you for right now. That's what I'm seeing in the market. Again, just like earlier, micro and meso, I am on a slightly bullish, more so of a bullish bias. But then on our macro time frame, I'm still of a bearish bias until we start really reclaiming. If we were to reclaim 62,000, hold strong there, then I might flip my opinion about that. But for right now, that's kind of where I'm at mentally with this. And I try to keep a very neutral perspective, but that's what I'm seeing in the market for right now, and that's what it's telling me essentially based off of my 7x6 levels, timing, and liquidity. So I kind of use 3 levels of confirmation as well as my order book. So you could call that a fourth. But anyways, guys, that is what I have for you today. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care.